I'm pleased to welcome with us, we've got BobBiondo with Bell Bank Mortgage, and we've got BrandonRobben with Arizona Network Realty. Is that right? That's right? You got that?
Correct.
Okay, so bottom line, there's something going big with the banks. What's happening?
Yeah, so what's happening is we've had some bank failures, and that's definitely had some confidence erosion in the banking system over the last couple of weeks and all that. So 3 banks in particular have failed. So why exactly have they failed? Well, when rates were very, very low, some of these banks took in deposits and they used some of that money to go out and buy longer term maturities of like treasuries and things like that. And now that the Federal Reserve has raised their rates, they've had people come into the bank looking for their money, and they've had to sell their long-term holdings at a loss. And that's what's created a problem. So what you've got is, some people are thinking, well, is this a bailout the same as it was in 2008 or 2009? No, what's happening right now is that the people who are getting their money back are the depositors of the bank itself. So what you're finding is that if you put money into the bank, that's a lot different than if you ended up that you invested in that bank itself.
Gotcha. Okay.
And President Biden yesterday morning came out and said none of the investors will be getting their money back. They took the risk, and they ended up that they're going to have to suffer the losses. So they go from there.
That's brutal.
Right.
And so what does that do? Does that affect even like the housing market in the sense of just trying to sell by? Are you seeing anything that will, not that you can see in the future, but do you think that that's going to have any issues at all?
Well, I think personally,
no, that was a no. He's like, no, probably not. I mean, you just don't know, because then all of a sudden, people you always were talking about, people are on the fence, or they won't get out and do things. It might make people a little bit more scared that okay, do I want to purchase a home, or do I want to sell my home because this is kind of where I'm comfortable? And I just would think that stuff like this happening kind of throws a little monkey wrench with some people.
Well, it's still supply and demand.
That's
no matter
true.
what you do, okay, it's still supply and demand. And what the Federal Reserve tends to always do is they're going to push things too far to try and get inflation to come down, and until something breaks. This is the beginning of 3 banks that broke, and that is going to hopefully start to end up dropping interest rates, and then that will take over, and you're going to start to see
higher demand.
Yep.
And then the supply will start coming in, because sellers will hopefully
be more
comfortable putting their homes on the market, which would be great.
So what it comes down to is, don't be afraid. Okay, at this point, your money is sitting in a bank. It's safe. It's secure. If you invested in the bank, well, you took the risk. But if you just put your money in the bank and you made a deposit, then you should be fine.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, because that's a little scary, not going to lie.
It is, It was a scary weekend, that's for sure.
And the big message here is, it's always a good time to buy. I'm just going to say, or sell your home.
Somewhere.
So,
especially if you're renting.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right.
I keep telling anybody that's renting, when I look at what it costs to actually rent a place versus actually owning a home that can be twice the size of what they're paying for maybe a little even apartment, it blows my mind away. It's like, no. Right. And I know a lot of their comments are, well, I can't afford it, or my credit's not good, or whatever. You're like, wait a minute, you can afford it because you're paying more, but the credit, that's another fear thing. Okay, pick up the phone and call and find out what you can afford, and see. And I know even if their credit's not great, you can at least tell them what they need to do in order to get to that place. So then you can hand them off and say, all right, here we go. Yes, now
that's
they can
true. That's true.
Buy a new home.
And usually people's credit is much better than what they think it is.
That's true.
So
that is very true.
It's my experience. So.
Well, very cool. Well, thank you for all the good information again.
Great.